Hello and welcome back to the Knitting Paige channel. If you're new here, my name's Paige and I am the face behind the Knitting Paige. Today I have my spring seasonal planning video with you. It is a little late because it's already the middle of April, but I figured better late than never. Let's sit down and record this video. So recently, when I have been doing my seasonal planning videos, I have also created a corresponding mood board based on a color palette that I am feeling for this season. I also have a goal this year to work through my stash, and so the patterns and the colors that I have chosen are representative of the yarns that I'm planning to work with based on the yarns that I already have in my possession. And so this year, as you can see, there's like a lot of greens. I'm playing with some bright, more warm colors than what I usually do, but there is still a cool piece in there that is kind of my bread and butter of what I tend to work with, is a lot of like cool blues. But I'm really excited about this spring's plans. I think I have like a very realistic planning video or set of plans to make, and that's very intentional based on I really would like to finish the plans that I make, but as you all probably know, you want to knit something and then a new thing comes into your life or a new yarn grabs your attention and you can be kind of diverted off the course. A few of these projects have already been started, and it's something that I've been debating about is, do I cast on like say 3 projects for my plan so that like I do kind of have that commitment in terms of the time and energy spent to start the project. And I'm finding that I'm really enjoying working on the projects that I have on hand. And so let's get straight into it. The first project that is on my spring knitting plans is the Talia cardigan. And this is a cardigan that has come from the Sandnes Garn book 2305. And it is knit in Sandnes Garn Line, which is a like worsted DK weight, 100% plant-based yarn. I'm knitting it in the colorway 1015, which is also known as kitty, or not kitty, putty or kit, not kitty. And I can try it on for you because I have finished the body of this cardigan, which if you've been a long-time viewer, you will have seen this on my needles since 2023, and I finally cast off the body. As you can see in like the project photo, there is just like a simple enclosure here, but my plan is to do a series of tie front bow closures, probably 4 of them down the front, so that I can wear this as like a little top as well. But I'm very pleased with the look in the yarn. It is a really nice, like I've worked with tin line before to knit my blouse number 1, and I just find the line is probably my favorite summer yarn. And so I kind of dread knitting I-cords, but I would really like to have this done soon. It is at a place, as you just saw, where I can wear it, and so I might experiment wearing it just like open with no tie closures, but I do think the tie closures would add like a really fun and playful touch for the spring. And so when you're looking at the mood board, the like laundry line is what I attributed to using this yarn. It's kind of laundry line and line, and then also just like the color of it being like a really soft neutral. And if I hold it close, you can see that there is like a little bit of variation in the different fibers that are composed of this yarn, and it feels so good to have this off my needles. And I do find myself really reaching and gravitating towards cardigans on a regular basis. The next project that I have is also one that has been started, and that is the Tulip loop sweater by Other Loops. I realized I've talked about this before and I've just been calling it the Tulip sweater, but it is the Tulip loop sweater. The cables on the sweater are designed to look like tulips. In my last podcast had talked about this and the Billy sweater that I was working on, and I really wanted a cabled sweater for this spring to wear, and gravitated towards the Tulip loop because it isn't a super complicated and complex cable pattern, and I had yarn for it in my stash. The yarn that I'm using for this is Shelter by Brooklyn Tweed in the colorway Foothills. And it was funny, when I was looking up like a picture to correspond to this color, I was like gray green, like green gray aesthetic is what I was looking up on Pinterest, and then I was like Foothills and like got this beautiful photo that you can see that I've included in my mood board that I feel like is very reminiscent and like a very good reflection of what this is. So I was like, I see where like the dyer was getting their inspiration from, because the colorway and the rolling hills of like a dusty, or not dusty, a misty morning in some like grassy foothills is definitely what this color looks like. I have knitted almost the body and almost the sleeve. I haven't been working on this one as much recently because there's two other whips that I find super fun that are also part of these knitting plans that I am very excitedly working on. And so I really wanted to have this done for Easter. We will see, but I know I can either get this one or another project that I've started done. So speaking of projects that I have already started, the next project that I have been working on and that's been really holding my attention is the cognac sweater by Atelier Castin. So I knit the cognac cardigan as a test knit last spring, and it is my most worn knit piece that I've ever made. I knit it in a lovely gray color and I just wear it all the time. I wear it with the buttons done up as a top, I wear it open as a cardigan, and I really loved the process of knitting that cardigan. And so after test knitting, I got gifted one of the patterns and I chose the cognac sweater. What I really enjoy about this sweater is the simple neckline, and I feel like you can dress it up or dress it down within this pattern. There's also options to customize it to whatever your interest is. In the cardigan, I did a twisted rib for the cuffs and the collar and the bottom of the cardigan. But for this top, I am going to do the I-cord edging to finish it off, to keep it just like a little more simple and a little more blouse-like. The really fun thing about this pattern is the size of needles that you work on, and you use a fingering weight yarn and a fluffy yarn and work them both on 6mm needles. So you are getting a bigger gauge, but I have found that it knits up really quickly, so it's kind of like a fun stash bust. It doesn't use a lot of yarn, and the overall process until you get to the body is really potato chippy, and there's not too much going on either step. And because the needles are so large, you really don't have to work that many rows of a certain shaping section. I also find that the shaping is just like very elegant and pretty, and I had yarn in my stash to work it. I already had the pattern in my library, and I talked about in my spring trends video, which if you haven't watched it, you can go check it out. But one of the colors that I've been seeing is smoothie green, and I knew that I had some smoothie green yarn in my stash. And so the fingering yarn, or like this might be actually honestly closer to a sport weight, but the fingering yarn, sport weight yarn that I'm using is Chasky by Amano, and this is a superwash cotton and linen blend that I picked up from the Knitting Loft during one of their sales. I got it thinking I was going to make like a fingering weight lacy long sleeve top, and it has just sat in my stash. I have 3 skeins of that. I did do a swatch, which I haven't been the best at doing swatches recently, but I'm holding it with the lime colorway in Cama Rose Mid Natsu. It's funny, I already have a green cardigan using this yarn, but I think a green sweater is just gonna be super fun for spring. I have Luna right beside me, so I'm just giving her a little pet. But I think the green is gonna be super fun for spring. I really like that it is a cotton linen blend with superwash merino. I think it's just like a very unique fabric. It's very soft, it's very light, and I don't know, I think it'll be a sweater that I wear a lot throughout the entirety of the year, and I think it's a fun way for me to play into this like trend I've been seeing of lots of green everywhere with using up some yarn in my stash. I have just over 3 balls of the Natsu. I am on the 2nd ball. I just started it when I split for the sleeves. But I'm knitting the 2nd size as well, but I'm not expecting this to take up too much yarn, and I'll probably have almost half a ball left over. So it really is a nice way to use up those kind of odd quantities of yarn in a fun wearable piece, and that the looser gauge does make it be a little lighter weight. So this is another one of my plans, the cognac sweater, and as you can see in the mood board, it is the smoothie green smoothie picture that I'm attributing to that. The next project I have is one that I'm really excited for, and it is the sponsor of today's video. The sponsor of today's video is Hooks and Needles, which is a company that you can buy these kits from in both knitting and crochet to kind of take your knitting journey to the next level. I have found that the more that I talk about my knitting with my friends, the more curious they are, and they oftentimes want to get started on knitting a project but don't really know where to begin. And I feel like Hooks and Needles would be like that perfect choice for like a birthday or a special holiday to gift someone a little taste of your love and passion with a everything you need kit. I chose the third kit, and so everything that I need is provided in the box. It comes in this cute little box, and it has the yarn and the needles and any little accessories. You usually get a free gift. And so I have these cute little stitch markers. I have the corresponding needles, and it also comes with a project book. So in the project book, you get 3 different patterns that you can create each month, and there is a step-by-step instruction on how to create each one. You can scan to get the digital pattern as well, and then there also is video support so that I mean, I feel like all of us, I definitely have my fair share of watching knitting technique videos, but I definitely know that it is very possible to learn to knit via YouTube, and Hooks and Needles provides all the links in the video support that you need to create these projects. The project I'm going to be creating is the everyday tote bag. This past winter, I got really into bouldering. I shouldn't say really into, like I'm not like a crazy climber, but I have been bouldering a lot. And one of the things that like you have when you boulder is a chalk bag where you put your chalk in. And they're usually these like cute little cylindrical bags, and you carry it around and you put your chalk and then you go climb up a wall, and like it's kind of fun. Like you can buy them, but a lot of people make them, and it's kind of like a true like I'm a true climber like once you make your chalk bag. And so when I was flipping through this catalog, I was like, this would be the cutest little chalk bag. And so my plan is to knit the everyday tote bag and then to line it with a fabric just so that I don't have like chalk seeping out the pores of the bag. But I'm really excited to like have this sit on the bench at my rock climbing gym and for people to be like, cool bag, and then me be like, yeah, I made it because I also knit. But yeah, I am super excited to make it, and it's funny, the knit group that I knit with every week knits at the bouldering gym, and I feel like there's just like we're like a classic, like it's like, oh, it's Thursday, it's the knitters, and like people get like curious, and so I think it'll be really fun like for like when I order my turmeric latte to be have the staff ask me what I'm working on and me be like, I'm actually knitting a chalk bag. I think that'll be super cute. Thank you so much for Hooks and Needles for sponsoring today's video.
And if you would like to try Hooks and Needles, you can use code KnittingPaige20 to get 20% off your first knitting box.
The next project I'm going to be working on is this fun little paint pink for my mood board, and that project is a Lucretia pullover by Claudia Quintanilla. I am knitting this as part of the knit along that is running from April 5th until June 5th, hosted by Unit. It is this beautiful oversized raglan pullover that kind of plays on the stripes trend that I'm seeing. Although these aren't necessarily explicit micro stripes, they are stripes in some sense, and I am super excited about the colors that I chose for this. And so as you can see, there's like a whole palette of like pink and red with this paint, and that is for the yarns that I will be using. So every Wednesday I wear pink, and I have a couple cardigans. Well, I have one cardigan, and I did gift one of mine to a really dear friend, but I wanted a pink and red sweater. I've just like had in my head that I've really wanted this pink and red striped sweater for a long time, and part of it is inspired by this Lane magazine issue cover with like the bold pink, and it's more of like an orangey color, but I just love the look of like the pink and with the red stripes. And so I picked out the yarns, and this is, I believe, like bubblegum pink by Sunday. It is color 4315, and The tin silk mohair was out of stock, and so Claudia suggested that I go for the poppy rose from Knitting for Olive. And I'm very excited to, I haven't swatched for it, but to see this like subtle marl of having this light pink with this super bright pink. And I think it attributes well to the picture. The contrast color I'll be using is 4255 by Sandnes Garn in Sunday with the pomegranate colorway by Knitting for Olive. And so holding these two together, and again, they're not like a 100% true match, but I think again, this is still high contrast enough that you will be able to see the difference, and it will be a really fun play on these different pinks and reds to kind of relate to this paint picture. And the main color will be this beautiful pink, and I'm very excited to wear it on Wednesdays. I'll wear it other days of the week as well. But I do just love like an oversized pullover. And so if you're interested in starting this knit along, you are more than welcome to do so. I am very excited to knit along with you. I have 3 more projects, one of which I have started, 2 of which I have not. The first project that I'll talk about is the one that I've started, and this is the Olymp vest by Le Pull. This is a vest that has grasped my attention for forever. It's super fun, it's eclectic, and it's a great way to use up scraps. My usual knitting is in these cool blue colors, and so I have a giant bag of scraps that I am working through to incorporate into this sweater vest. This vest is constructed in a super cool way. It is knit across horizontally for the body, and then you pick up for the armband and for the button band and do it in a twisted rib, and then it has this beautiful double knit button band to pull the whole look together. It has been so fun to knit. I'm using the magic knot technique to connect my different colored yarns together. Oftentimes I'll just cut at a random point and just kind of knit until that yarn's used up, and then tie another yarn on and repeat that process. I am so excited to wear this, and the photo that I chose to kind of represent this is this like coastal rocky ocean photo. It kind of reminds me of like a doomy, gloomy day with like a rugged coastline, and so that is kind of the inspired look for this vest. I am just enjoying knitting this so much. Honestly, this is like basically 1-2 nights of progress, and then I have been working mostly on my cognac sweater, but I'm super excited to finally cast this on because I feel like I've been talking about it for a while, and I've been collecting all these scraps for a while. But I finished some blue projects recently where their yarns got added to my stock, and now I'm excited to knit it up and then incorporate the rest of the remaining scraps into my excavation blanket. I have 2 more projects that I would like to knit this spring, one of which I have swatched for, and this is the Maggie cardigan by Petite Knit. The picture in my mood board is like that beautiful like garden scene. It reminds me a lot of this yarn. The colors in this are so gorgeous. This is Silk Garden Solo in the colorway T16 by Noro. I picked this up last spring from my old local yarn store in Coburg, Ontario. The name of it, Yarn It in Coburg, Ontario. And I have wanted to use it for the perfect project for a long time now, and I really just wanted to let this yarn shine. I debated about getting like a muted green to hold with it and knit something a little thicker, but I also A, wanted to save some money, and B, just wanted to let this yarn shine. So it's mostly a green with like these like flecks of different colors sprinkled throughout it. I think it's so cool and fun. And then I also have really been loving the look of just like a nice, clean, not super oversized cardigan, which, you know, the Maggie cardigan, I feel like a lot of people have been knitting it, and it has that kind of like clean, trendy aesthetic to it. And so my plan is to knit the Maggie cardigan in this yarn. I am going to Montreal to race the Montreal Half Marathon in 2 weeks, and this is the project that I'm planning to bring then, and like start it a couple days before, just so that it is, I won't finish it, it's fairly mindless, it's just back and forth stockinette, And so I'm really excited to have this cardigan on hand. I think it will be super cute to wear with like jeans and skirts, and again, wear it professionally and casually. And very excited to use up this yarn. It was just so it was so addicting to knit the swatch just because of how much change there was. And I'm excited to see how this works up. The last and final project that I plan on knitting this spring is the Sabai top by Suzanne Mueller. I have had this yarn in my stash for a very long time. This is Merino Extra Fine Cotton 120 by Schuschenmeyer yarn. It's in this like fun orange coral color. It's a 50-50 split between superwash merino and cotton. I have 4 balls of it, and I figured the Sabai top, that open neckline, I really love to wear. It's knit at a DK weight. I feel like everyone that I've heard that has made the Sabai top has spoken so highly of it, and it would be a perfect way to get these 4 skeins out of my stash and have like a fun spring summer color to wear this year and moving forward. And so that is my last and final plan. I am so excited to knit these plans. It's funny, as I was speaking about it, I was like, there's so much going on, but at the same time, I think it is like 4 of the projects are like a decent amount of the way through. And then if this top or the Maggie cardigan or the Lucretius pullover like transition into summer, I'm also okay with that. But I think it's really doable for me to at least start all these projects this spring and kind of see where I wind up. So that is all for today. I would love to hear what you are working on this spring. And if you like what you saw today, it would mean a lot if you like, subscribed, and did all the YouTube things. Until next time, goodbye.